Welcome everyone. This is Jim Wigan with Athearn, and a quick little video for you tonight. We're doing this live just because we wanted to let you know what's going on here at Athearn. So, quick video. Basically, we did a Train Tuesday on the SD70 ACUs, particularly the military units. And we started getting some comments and we started getting some emails. Our service department started getting some emails. There were some folks that had received their pre-orders. Also, there were some folks that did not receive their pre-orders. So a lot of those folks were contacting us, and we took a few days to go through all the information that was coming in. Now, in a situation like that, normally we would think that maybe folks had tried to pre-order these models after the due date, when the due date is up. However, we did some searching, we did some digging around. Our IT looked into our software, and apparently there were some pre-orders for whatever reason that were canceled. So this is what Athearn is going to do. Because of not only that, but just the high demand for these CP military models, we are opening up pre-orders on these again. And you have a little bit over a week. You've got until Friday, January 16th to place your pre-order on the SD70ACUs. Now, the SD70ACUs, they're only the military ones. So the 5-pack, as well as 7020 through 7024 and 6644, which I've actually got on the layout here tonight. So if you're one of those folks that pre-ordered through your Athearn dealer, contact your Athearn dealer and make sure that they've been contacted by their sales rep. We tried to automatically enlist everyone that had a pre-order that got canceled to reorder, but verify with your dealer. Don't assume that everything's okay. If you had a pre-order, you didn't get the military units, please contact your dealer and have your dealer make sure that that pre-order is open. Likewise, if you're one of those guys that didn't pre-order the first time, and maybe your buddy in the club's got one of these or all of them, and you're like, hey, this is really great, then here's your chance to pre-order one. Now, the good news is you're not going to have to wait long for these locomotives. Once all the pre-orders close on January 16th, these models will be delivered in the fall of this year. So you only have to wait a few months for these. So first of all, before we go further, this is not a program for you to ask when the 38-2s are coming in or when the SD70 are coming in. We're only going to be talking about the SD70 ACUs. If you have questions about that, let me know. I'll be looking at some comments here and answering some comments here and there regarding the SD70 ACUs and pre-orders. And then we'll take a little bit of time to look at the actual model. So maybe in case you're not familiar with it, you can take a look at it. And I do believe I put a link in the video description below for the original Train Tuesday where we went into detail on all of the models. So first of all, I want to thank all of those that are joining us. We got about 68 folks online tonight. And I want to thank you all for showing up. And let's see if there's any questions. Jim, can we get these on the Athearn website? Yes. So we literally sold through these so quick, we never even got the images of the actual models on the website. That's going to come soon, but you can order the military units. Now, it will say on the website that next date unknown. Don't worry about that. That is still some software integrations that we're having trouble with. They are, we've already talked to our manufacturer and they've assured us that we're going to get these in the fall. So if you want to order direct through Athearn.com, you can. However, I highly suggest for the best pricing to contact an Athearn dealer. And there's plenty of them online that you can choose from. Let's see what else we've got. Any questions on that? Kind of looking through. Here is another good question regarding pre-orders. That depends on the store, the Athearn dealer. Most Athearn dealers do not require any money down. There are a few that do require a small down payment. That's just a thing that they want to make sure that they're going to actually be able to sell the model to you when it comes in. But check with your Athearn dealer. That varies from dealer to dealer. Now let's see. We've got a lot of folks joining us from all over. I see Jason from Vermont, Sid from Ohio. Here's a funny one I'm going to put up, just lighten the mood a little bit. At least producing more should make the scalpers calm down. Yeah, these really took us by surprise. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and there we go. We'll put 6644 on the screen while I'm talking. Terry, no, none of them are in primer. So the only ones that we're reissuing the pre-order on is the military units, and that includes the 5-pack. If you ordered or if you pre-ordered the 5-pack and you didn't get it, again, check with your dealer. We're going to reopen those pre-orders. The dealers have actually known this for a little bit. We wanted to give the dealers a heads up so that they were ready for you when you found out about the information. Let's see. Any other questions? All right. So Jay, sorry, we're not going to answer questions on anything except the SD70ACUs. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. All right. So if you're not familiar with these models, I've got one here on the layout. This is 6644. Canadian Pacific, when they rebuilt the old SD90s and made them into SD70ACUs, not only did they put new electronics in them, they've got a cab that's more like what you'd see on an SD70ACE. It's a much newer cab. But they did some really cool paint schemes, and they did some that were the throwback or the retro paint scheme, the gray and maroon. But they also did these tribute locomotives, and they did 4 locomotives that represented the different branches of the military. They did one for the Navy. They did one for the Army. They actually did 2 for the Army. They did the one that would be the desert scheme, as well as the like your forest scheme like you'd see in Europe. And then they did an Air Force scheme. And that's mainly because generally in the railroad industry, the full-scale railroad industry, a lot of folks that work for the railroad are former military. So CP wanted to basically extend their thanks for everything our service veterans have done on both sides of the border, both the Canadian side as well as the American side. And they did those tribute locomotives. But the 5th locomotive, 6644, really got people excited, because what they ended up doing is this is the Normandy D-Day tribute. Now, if you know anything about aircraft, specifically World War II aircraft, you should probably recognize this paint scheme. The paint scheme was taken from British Spitfire. The Spitfire, of course, was a famous fighter plane of World War II from British design. And of course, the Canadians also used the Spitfire when they were overseas fighting for the Brits. So they thought it'd be fitting to paint this locomotive in this really attractive Spitfire paint scheme. And of course, you can see on the back, you've got the Normandy D-Day invasion stripes. Now, if you're not familiar with what the invasion stripes are, pretty simple. Normandy was a big operation. It was one of the biggest military operations in history. And the Allies knew that there was going to be a lot going on as far as what time of day they were going to be fighting. Also, that part of the country, cloudy. Weather conditions aren't really that good. They didn't have the spotting features that our modern military has. So it was actually quite common in World War II to have aircraft or other vehicles shot by friendly fire, thinking that that was the enemy and they would shoot them. So for Normandy, what they did is all Allied aircraft had these invasion stripes painted on the fuselage as well as the wings of the aircraft. The black and white was real easy to see, and that would allow Allied forces to know not to shoot at those aircraft. So that's why if you see a lot of old military films, or if you go to an air museum and you see an aircraft like a Spitfire with these invasion stripes, that's because it participated in Normandy. Let's see if we've got any questions on this, and then I'm going to turn you guys loose. It's not a real long one tonight. I just wanted to let you know the news that the pre-orders on the military Canadian Pacifics are open again. So, well, we're doing it right now. So get with your dealer and pre-order. The one that you see now you can't get, but you can get one of these this fall. So if you pre-order before the 16th, you'll be able to get this one. So here's your chance. If you missed out, you're definitely going to want to do that. Yes, these are HO only. We don't have the tooling for these in N scale. We primarily do HO just because the HO market is much bigger. So while I'm looking for more comments here, let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom in here. Now, I'll back this guy up a little bit too. These models, we worked exclusively with Canadian Pacific. And these models all feature operating number boards. So you can't quite see. I'm going to flick that on and off so you can see. Really hard to see. I'm going to shut off one of my lights. If you look real carefully, you can see the number boards actually function. So that's function number 6. Now that's, of course, if you get the Tsunami 2 edition. Now I failed to tell you that pre-orders are open on these. There's 2 different versions per road number. There's the DCC Ready. So that's ready for your own sound decoder of your choice, as well as speakers. Or you can buy the Tsunami 2 equipped version, which is this one here. And it's going to have all these lighting features as well as the authentic sounds. So you have operating number boards. I'll turn those back on. Of course, if I go forward, I have operating ditch lights. I have operating headlight. You have a fully detailed cab interior. You also have ground lights. You can't really see here because it is so dark, but there are operating ground lights. You just barely make that out. Those come on with power on the track. As soon as you put this on the layout and it's got power, those lights come on automatically. There's no function number for that. Sid, actually, good question. Will these be airshipped from the factory or the usual route by container? We're probably going to just do container. It's going to take a little bit for the factory to reset because they've already produced the first run that a lot of guys missed out on. And we've got to make the decoders for them because one of the things that a lot of folks don't realize is Tsunami 2 and Econami, all of the soundtracks decoders, they're made right here in the United States. So those have to be made. Once the pre-orders are closed and we have an idea how many locomotives need to be produced, we put in an order with Soundtracks. They produce them specifically for these locomotives, and then they're installed at our factory. So it's going to take a little bit because of the production, both in the factory, the installation, the production here in the United States, and then shipping. But our factory has told us that they can have these to us by fall of this year. Let's see. DZGTBNZ3680. I believe I answered your question in a comment on the actual video. Again, if you're having issues with your models, they do have a warranty. So contact our service. You can contact them at athearnhelp@horizonhobby.com. You can go to our website as well and select the contact us, and their email is there. Contact one of our service techs and we'd be more than happy to help you. Sorry you're having issues, but we're willing to help you out. Let's see what other questions we have. It looks like Ray Arnott Jr. has joined us. If you're familiar with Ray, he has a podcast, Around the Layout. Let's see what other questions we have. Yeah, Delta 9, you are welcome. This was one of those things, again, where as soon as I came out with the Train Tuesday video, we started having comments. And so we looked into it. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again. No manufacturer is perfect. Every manufacturer has mistakes. And this is one of those things where we found something that didn't work as the way we had originally wanted it to. And rather than just letting it go and having a bunch of people empty handed, we decided to do another announcement of these that will allow the people that missed out their pre-orders didn't get filled. Now they'll get filled. The only downside is they got to wait a little bit longer, but at least they're going to be guaranteed their pre-order. And for those that said, man, I should have pre-ordered one of these, well, here's your chance. Again, you've got until the 16th. Let's see what else. Yes, Stephen, these are available. If you look at the description, the video description below, I've got links that go to our website as well as the original PDF. Now, keep in mind, we're only reissuing the military units. So we're not going to do the Norfolk Southerns. We're not going to do the standard CP ones. We're just doing the 5 CP military ones. Let's see what else we've got going on. Any other questions? All right. So again, these models include a bunch of lighting features, the number boards, ground lights, your headlights, of course, ditch lights, and of course, sound. They do have dual sugar cube style speakers, so the sound on these is phenomenal. And that's one of the beauties of the SD70s. It's all new tooling, and we just introduced it in 2020. We've only done, this is the 3rd run. Thank you, Sid, for noticing that. Yeah, there was, and understandably so, there was a lot of folks that were more than frustrated with us on that. And I would be too, if I had that situation happen to me. Now, obviously, as a company, we can't please everybody, but we saw a trend and we looked into it. And yeah, so this is our way of trying to make it better for you. It's not perfect because, again, if you pre-ordered and you didn't get your pre-order, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. But the good news is you are guaranteed to get it. And again, if you're like me and you didn't pre-order one of these and you're kind of regretting it now, I'll give you a chance to actually pre-order one and get it in the fall. All right, any other questions on the SD70ACUs? Now stay tuned to our social media, and we're going to be having some more lives. We found out that another locomotive set was one that we might open for pre-orders. And if you did not get your Rock Island GP7Rs, or you didn't get your Chicago Northwestern GP18s, those just started shipping. Let us know, and we're going to be doing an opening for those as well. So with that, that's really all I've got for you. I just wanted to give you that quick update of what we're doing at Athearn. We are going to have that in the newsletter. So if you missed this video, we're also going to have it in social media. So we want to give you guys enough time. Again, you've got till January 16th to place those pre-orders. Yeah, let's see. Any other questions? I'm sorry, ES70CW, I do not have a translator on my computer, so I don't know what you're saying, but if you can translate that into English, I'll do my best to help you out there. Let's go back to the layout mode. There we go. And let's try something on. Get some sound on here. You see how great these sound. Here's speed step 1. Now this is right out of the box. Haven't done anything with it except just put it on the layout. All right, so there you have it. Again, you can get the SD70ACUs. This is the CP military versions. You can get these on pre-orders, and you're guaranteed to get them in the fall of this year. You have until January 16th. It's a Friday, so contact your dealer now. Again, if you had a pre-order and you did not receive your models, then make sure your dealer has gotten confirmation from their sales rep that they've been automatically added again. If not, make sure that they can get your pre-order in. So there you have it. Tell your friends. Like I said, we're broadcasting this on social media as well as our newsletter. We'll leave with one more question. Again, we're not answering questions on anything about SD70 ACUs tonight. What are the differences between this run and the original run of the other military units? So the one big thing, and that's a great question, is these have rotating bearing caps. The first run and the second run of SD70ACUs had all of those really cool details, but they did not have rotating bearing caps. These do. And so that's the big difference between this run of the military units and previous runs. All right, so with that, I am going to let you get back to it. I want to thank you for joining us, and we're sorry about that little mix-up, but it looks like we've got everything back in control. And again, if you missed out on these, here's your opportunity to go ahead and lock in that pre-order for delivery for fall. So until next time, everyone, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens.